is going to be solved with strong family support and guidance and awareness. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome to our Pandemic Combat Dealing with Anxiety, Depression, and Suicidal Tendency to Learners webinar. To formally start this, let us begin with an invocation to be led to us by our BE Ed Research, Extension, and Development Coordinator, Miss Marian and Runas, LPT, to be followed by the singing of the Philippine National Anthem and CVSC hymn through an audio and visual presentation.
Let us, all- Let us all put ourselves in the presence of God. Heavenly Father, we praise and adore you. We thank you for this opportunity to virtually meet together for this pandemic combat seminar. We thank you for giving our speaker the precious time and desire to be with us. Send us your Holy Spirit to be our guide and give us the wisdom to understand every topic we are going to discuss. Enlighten our minds and let your love be upon us. May this meeting serve as a catalyst to move us forward and cause us to advance and see growth in all areas of our lives. Father God, as we pray for the success of our activity, may we also pray for the safety of our fellow Filipinos who are being devastated by the unfavorable weather conditions. At these difficult times, amidst pandemic and typhoons, may you encourage those who are fearful and suffering right now with your comforting and healing love. And may you eventually turn their trials into triumphs. These we all ask in your mighty name. Amen.
Once again, good morning, CVSNs. Today, we will learn and be aware on how our overall mental health is as important as our physical health. Since most of us have no idea on how to keep our mental health in tip-top shape and how we could understand those who are experiencing mental health concern. So without further ado, to give us his opening remarks, may I call in our very dynamic and supportive Office of the Student Affairs and Services Head, Sir Gabriel Cobero Maii. Let us give him a warm of resounding virtual applause.
Okay, to our college president, Dr. Cristal, to our very active campus director, Dr. Joel Pilisilda, to our faculty and staff, students, and of course to our resource speakers, good morning. So today, we will have our symposium, and I'm very thankful to our very active guidance coordinator for initiating this kind of symposium. And I know with everything going on, people can find themselves ruminating, feeling hopeless and helpless, and ultimately depressed, right? Especially to our faculty and staff, they have their major tasks, and of course to our students for their module, answering the module. So in this kind of symposium, we can reframe our perspective in terms how to fight the depression. Yes, it's okay to feel upset and to acknowledge ourselves to others, and these are the difficult times. Yet, this could be an opportunity to think what you value or really want to do with your life. So, I believe that this kind of symposium, with the help of our resource speaker, we can identify the stress, including the factors related to COVID-19 and some strategy or technique on how to fight depression. That will be all, and good morning.
Thank you so much, Sir Gav, for that warmful and inspiring opening remarks. No? So before we are going to introduce to you our resource speaker for this session, I would like to remind every participants that after this webinar, a link for the evaluation and post test will be posted in the CVSC Guidance and Testing Office New Bataan Branch Facebook page. And kindly accomplish both before 3 p.m. on the day of this webinar, because only those who will complete the said requirements and get at least a score of 50% in a post test will get a certificate. Okay? And speaking of certificate, your certificate will be sent to the email you used in the evaluation form. So please make sure to provide your accurate details. All right? So at this juncture, may I call in our school disaster risk reduction management coordinator, Miss Kim Noreen V. Coronel, LPT, for the introduction of our resource speaker. Ma'am?
Good morning. Good morning, sir. Good morning, everyone. Our guest speaker for today's webinar is a graduate of Bachelor of Arts in Psychology from Central Mindanao University. She is also a graduate of Master in Psychology from Ateneo de Davao University. She is a registered psychologist with special skills in behavioral therapy and counseling. It is a great pleasure to introduce our guest speaker for today, the one and only Miss Chenie Rose. Let us give her a virtual applause. Good morning, ma'am.
Hello, good morning. Thank you for the introduction. For our wala na sila. For a while, I'm having problem with my yeah, share. Ayan. Okay. Now, do you see my screen already?
Yes, ma'am.
Ayan. Okay, so yeah. So thank you for the introduction, Miss Kim, and it is my pleasure to be working with Compostela Valley State College for this pandemic combat, equipping the students and even your teachers and parents as to how we are to deal with the pandemic, we will try, sorry, ayan, better na siya. Okay, so there. So I think we are already in the 8th month of the pandemic, and for these 8 months, we have a lot of psychological impacts as to increased in depression symptoms, anxiety, even we experience na nasara ang schools, ang work, and it disrupted our daily activities. So because of this, it even increase alcohol, drug, or others suicidal thoughts at the same time. So reflected there, according to research, truly that there are problems in depression, there are problems in anxiety that is threefold higher compared to pre-pandemic time. So in our academe, we also experience problems, of numerous students who seem to have problems dealing with their learning modalities that somehow dili man tanan, not all committed suicide, but they manifested rather problems of mental health, such as problems in eating or sleeping kasi disrupted siya sa atong pattern. And yun. So I have here, as of October 20, 2020, one student, 14-year-old, grade 7 from Compostela Valley Institute of Technology, hang herself, committed suicide after losing the boyfriend. So even those problems elevated, it somehow increased our anxiety, losing someone, kulang ato ang time sa family and other stuff. So as of November 11, 2 days ago, this is the update from Province of De Oro kasi I am a follower of the page. Yan. So, Compostela, New Bataan, so far, 0 suspect, probable 0, but he had 3 confirmed cases. So, once we see these updates, Facebook, sa balita, sa TV, it even increased our sense of agitation, kasi diba, at the first few months of the quarantine, with the first few months of the quarantine, somehow we were motivated to stay at home. We were motivated to stay at home, and we were somehow paranoid, frequent washing. It even aside. Okay, I think I can continue. Okay, so yan. So at first, we were what happened? Okay lang. Do you still hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Sorry. So, at the start of the quarantine, we were motivated to stay at home. However, it prolongs syempre after 3-4 months, eto na, we have a lot of problems encountered, not only in the society, but at the same time in the academe. In our students, no, they have problems dealing with how to address economic problems, going to school, and even their personal problems. So before we answer the question how to deal with our mental health, let us first define stress. Okay, so projected there are definitions of stress. Now, I have two definitions. It says any uncomfortable emotional experience accompanied by predictable biochemical, physiological, and behavioral changes. So again, when we say stress, no, it is not only isa lang. It's not only how you feel or you behave, but it is actually a collective response based from biochemicals. That means our neurotransmitters, the chemicals in our brain, our physiological symptoms. Later, I will show you that, and
Ma'am
our
Chin, excuse me
behavioral.
po.
Yes po.
Ma'am, kanang wala po na share ang imong screen po.
Oh my God. Wait for a while. Again.
Thank you, ma'am.
Sige. From the start, sir, wala ko screen.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh my God. So sorry. Ayan, okay na tayo.
Yes po, ma'am.
Okay, sorry.
Thank you po.
I was assuming meron. Okay, ayan na. So again, so that is the definition of one definition of stress, no? Any uncomfortable emotional experience accompanied by predictable biochemical, physiological, and behavioral changes. So again, it's not only one factor. It's not only how you feel. It's not only how you behave, but it is a collective response. So another definition that I have here is from Ali Dog Psychology Glossary. No? A psychology,
Lumabas niya na meron siyang kachat na pinsan niya. Hindi pala pinsan niyo, kundi girlfriend niya.
Excuse me, reminding all the participants to please mute your microphone po. Again, reminding all the participants to please mute your microphone po. Thank you po.
Ayan. So I think we all have problems, no, sa technicality. Even ako, I have problems kanina with the audio. So I have to use two gadgets para isa yung audio, isa naman yung sa screen. So it's understandable. Okay, so if I may continue, so this is another definition of stress, no? As stress is psychological, physical response of the body that occurs whenever we must adapt to changing conditions, whether those conditions be real or perceived, positive or negative. Okay, so in that definition, I highlighted adapt to changing conditions because like karon, no, we're having the webinar and then we have technical glitches. So how are we to adapt in this? So the coordinators, the moderators, the host, and even ako, no, we may experience stress because as I have said, meron tayong mga technical glitches. So there is stress ba good or bad, no? Yeah, before I forget, there is also real or perceived. So, is there a stress na real or perceived lang? If you have your sister na younger, na mga 3 to 4 years old, or brothers, now when they talk about, they are afraid of parang matakot sila matulog kasi there are monsters or those belief on intangible na mga fearful things, no? It took you how many nights, how many months na mapacify yung mga kapatid natin or may pwedeng anak din kasi they were afraid of the monsters. No? Monsters. So they are only perceived but they are not really real. Now, when we say real stress, as I have mentioned, ito kanina, no? Our technical glitches or the pandemic itself. So real stress siya. Now, there is positive or negative stress. There is. So, one dito is when we post sa Facebook na distressing, no? Tapos you are showing your food, or you are at the beach, or you're doing something that gives you good emotions. That actually is eustress, because eustress is the positive stress, the experience that gives you good na elevated na emotions. You feel happy, you are not agitated, you are not nervous, no? The bad stress now is the de-stress. Any scenario that can give you negative na emotions. Okay, so do we follow, students? Ayan. So I asked a while ago, is stress good or bad? No, actually it is both. It can be good and it can be bad. So when is stress good? Okay. So there at the bottom, no, you can see there is an arc there. So that is actually my cue on telling you na stress is like that. No, it's an inverted U. So pag medyo sa start pa lang ng inverted na U, when you are trying to go up like that, so okay lang siya, no? It gives us motivation. Paano pa? It actually protect us, no? So when we say nakasabaan ka sa una sa imong teacher, so that stressful event, no, or memory will protect you from doing the same thing. That's how stress work with us, no? It motivates us and it protects us, no, from further harm. And also, stress in a moderate amount can give you adrenaline rush, which means it keeps us going. So for example, when we are doing a report or we are doing any requirement for school or modules, most of you tend to finish their module kapag almost deadline na, or others would even do it few hours before the deadline. Why is it so? Because a little amount of stress can give us adrenaline rush. It makes us motivated. It makes us willing to finish, and then yun, mas energized ka pag mayroong moderate level of stress, okay? However, kapag aabot na siya on the peak of the U, no, medyo nakabado ka na, you have that butterfly feelings already sa tummy, or mag-headache na, or mag-sweat na, no? And then pag magbaba siya towards the opposite end, that is very dangerous already. Kasi it is now becoming the bad stress already, because it may develop even more symptoms na dili na nato makope as a person. Okay? So again, we have to take note that it is by our physical body, our emotions, and our behavior, and how we think are affected on our situation. In any situation that we are in, these four works together. So these four at the same time have the different symptoms. So how would you know that you are stressed? Physical signs could be low energy, yan, upset stomach, chest pains, headaches, insomnia. Minsan din, we have problems sa when you see your teacher, students, when you see your teacher doing this, not touching their shoulders or stretching their arms or magbend na sa lower back, that is a sign of physical stress. Okay. So You may also experience that. Minsan din, we have nausea or diarrhea. No? There is no other factor. Na make sure lang na your tummy is not upset na kay nakaon nga dili okay. But kung nakaon, it could be a factor. But if wala, and then you are stressed, that diarrhea or nauseous is a sign of stress. So, physical symptoms. Now, there is also emotional symptoms for stress. So, this is the time when we observe people to be moody. No? Kasi we are moody, we are trying to combat whatever situation we are in, then ma-increase na somewhat, na-elevate karon ang anxiety, no? Fear of the upcoming events, no? Fear in the future or whatever you are fearing, no? In a particular situation or in a particular event. So there is, or even short-tempered na tayo. It's very hard. When you experience little amount of sleep, no, usually, according to research, take note, students especially students na less lang ang time mag-sleep. When you have less amount of sleep as expected, you will have short temper, no, irritability. Kasi nga, we are under stress. So moodiness and anxious behavior, short-tempered, or irritability are symptoms of emotional area. Now, as to cognitive symptoms, ayan na. Because we have problems dealing with ourselves, with the environment, and the situation, it also affects our self-esteem, no? Self-esteem, students, are our evaluation of ourselves as to our social relationship at the same time in the society or saan ka na belong, no? In the family, with the friends, or in the school. So we tend to have low self-esteem. So because we have low self-esteem, then of course, it will also affect our confidence in ourselves. Now later, I will discuss self-efficacy, which is very important for the learners of today. So anyway, let's proceed. Fear of failure at the same time is another cognitive symptom. So, again na, you don't want to fail. So something is bothering you, but you have less energy. At the same time, you have fear of failure. See, it's become a cycle. You are stressed. Take note, you are stressed. You have low self-esteem, low self-confidence, and then you are given you're given with your activities, and then you fear to fail. However, mahirapan ka mag-comply. You see, it's a chronic stress when it is a cycle already. And also, another factor is difficulty concentrating, because you have problems in concentration, then we become forgetful. When we are stressed, we have less concentration, and then we are forgetful. And then because we are forgetful, we also have problems in concentrating, then we are stressed. So paulit-ulit na naman siya. So we become even more stressed kasi we forget things because we have less concentration due to the stressor or the stressful environment. You see, that's another chronic stress environment. Another cognitive symptoms are worrying about things. No, if you observe sa parents nato sa balay, no, especially that the income is being affected by this pandemic, no, irritable na sila because when you ask for load, grabe na pag mag-online or mag-print for the module, no, it's very hard for them to produce big amount of money because again, economic status is being affected by this pandemic as well. So that's another area. So when they worry too much, they cannot sleep, you have less concentration, domino effect na yan. Okay? And another one is preoccupation. And this one, ito na yung mahirap. Okay? Because when we say preoccupation, you think it over and over. Yes? Yan. However, Pag sobra na siya, we call that rumination. It's more than preoccupation. So when we say mag-ruminate na yung estudyante or yung faculty or yung parent, no, it becomes dark. No? The feeling becomes dark. The emotions even go down. So then, yan na yung may problems sa depression or anxiety. Yan. So, mag-elevate even more ang atuang symptoms. So, again, we're done with the physical and then the emotional and the cognitive. The last one is the behavioral symptoms. Okay, so this I think is more observable, especially if we have already problems, no, prior to the pandemic, and then pandemic came, and then we have our academic requirements, we have our roles at home, right? As a daughter, as a son, no, we have to do chores, sibling, you have to do the module of your brothers and sisters na nasa elementary. So maybe, no, this is observed at home, so there is stuttering. So if you can see an adult who is stressed, no, nahirapan siya mag-utter ng words or mag-stutter even kasi nga yun, dili na mag-coincide ang iyahang thoughts o iyahang ginato. Crying for no reason, no? Last night and earlier this morning, so we have good reason to cry, especially when we pray for Luzon people, no? Seeing those baby wrapped with plastic with nasa palanggana being transported. So that is a reason to cry because we sympathize, and it's fine. Yes, it is stressful to watch, but it is a normal response to kapwa Pilipino na nahihirapan, and even seeing those babies, no, na they seem to be happy na parang naga cuddle sa kanya is the planggana and everything na naka-wrapped around, and then with the waves, no, of the baha. So parang pa siya, no, naka-relax pa siya. But actually, when you really see the bigger picture, na it is stressing, it is sad. So when you cry, when you watch those movies, news or sa newsfeed nyo sa Facebook, it is, no, a reason to cry. But when we say behavioral problems as to it says here the host would like to unmute me. Do you still see my slide?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Yan. Sige. So, ayun na. So, when, let's go back to crying for no reason. So, when we say crying for no reason, yan. When you are watching Netflix and then it's funny and then a memory came out, then you cry. Na, and then dili na din ka masaktan sa family, then it will ignite another chaotic scenario. Impulsiveness. No? Impulsiveness at the same time is a problem of behavioral symptoms of stress. No? Sorry, but the 11/11 of Lazada, Shopee, and the rest, no, it was mentioned, some researchers said that shopping can help us boost our emotion. However, be careful because when we are stressed and then we become impulsive, no, it's dangerous. Bakit man? Because we feel good when we buy at Lazada and Shopee kasi nga it is rewarding. It's rewarding to buy makeup. It's rewarding to buy abubot-abubot or whatsoever that you are into, no? However, kapag hindi na siya control and you're spending too much, no, so medyo na siya dangerous. So impulsivity doesn't only come to impulsivity doesn't only apply to shopping. It also involve in drinking. It also involve in smoking, and even, I hope you are not doing this, sexual behaviors. Okay? Why, ma'am? It makes us feel good. Yes po. Later, I will explain that there is problem, there is involvement in the brain that cause us to do these things. And again, impulsivity is a behavioral symptom of stress. So when you do that, inhale, exhale, and think before you add to cart. No, narabasilimin ho. Add to cart sa Lazada, na-perminti sa ad sa YouTube or sa Facebook. Okay, nervous laughter. Ayan. Ang ako ma-remember, if you watch no the Money Heist is itong joker kaya siya makatawa. But that laughter is not nervous. Okay, I'm sorry, my dog kay mo-appeal daw siya webinar. Okay, sorry for that. Anyway, nervous laughter. Ayan, so I already mentioned in smoking and drinking. Ayan, grinding teeth. When I was in my clinical practice way back in Davao, no, one of my client in counseling with anxiety have broken most of his molars. Okay, whenever he is stressed, whenever demanding, in taas ang demand sa work, he does not answer or assert. Instead, he would grind his teeth. Ayan. There are people who grinds teeth. So, ato ang i-remove sa category ana ang katong nagakagot gud matulog kasi that's another problem. But grinding teeth during stressful events, yan po ang scope nito. And then overeating. Okay, take note. Sorry, bumirang niya siya. I also do that when we say stress eating. The thing I mentioned no nga, de-stressing tapos naka-food ang picture. So again, when we eat, truly, it does make us feel good. However, are you hungry? Yan yun. That's when you eat na hindi ka hungry, that becomes our problem. Kasi you ordered so much in McDo or Jollibee or Food Panda, spent 400 to 500, but you are not hungry, you just wanted to eat. That is a manifestation of stress. Bakit man? Kasi, yeah, true, again, that it feels good, no? Ang mechanism gid sa tong satiety, the feeling of hungry and the feeling of being full, no, controlled gid na siya. Pero kapag nasobra ka na sa intake, and it involves the impulsivity of adding to cart or ordering sa new milk tea, new burger in town. Okay, that's another problem and mechanism of the brain. So again, stress, ha? Dili ra gyud na siya students nakafocus sa isa lang na factor, but there are four. You can observe that through physical symptoms, emotional symptoms, cognitive symptoms, and behavioral symptoms. Okay, now, wait a what should I do, man? I cannot host.
Yes, ma'am.
Can I stay muted with Chenie Labnutin? Kasi there is no audio for sa laptop ko. So I'll have lang Chenie Rose, I think. Chenie Labnutin as, sino bang nagsasalita? Si Chenie Labnutin ang nagsasalita. Kasi, ayan, wait lang. I cannot find my cursor. I cannot go to the next slide. Ayan, okay. So, do you see my, ayan. Okay, thank you. Ayan. So, there are, those emotional, cognitive, and behavioral symptoms of stress, no, can be explained by our fight or flight mechanism. So, as shown in the excuse me, as shown in the picture, there is snake. So, when you say, when you are in a stressful scenario, you really have to fight or flight. So, that's part of the brain, the sympathetic nervous system. Now, when we say rest, heal, and digest, that's when that's parasympathetic, no? Parasympathetic nervous system. So, say for example, those people in Luzon na I'll call that Ulysses, no, the typhoon. So they are very energetic, transferring their pets, their family members, their things, no, and they were. It was easy to climb up. It was easy to climb up on the roof, no, on the rooftop. Most of them are on the rooftop. Now, at for the moment, no, they are in that sympathetic response, no. Everything in the body, kasi that's how our brain is sobra siya ka powerful, no. That's how it works, no. You will never feel hunger because the digestion stops. All of the blood were pumped on the limbs, no, how you are to climb up the rooftop. So nakaya nimo musaka sa taas kasi all the energy was pushed there, no. There is what we call cortisol, the neurotransmitter in the brain that is being produced during this scenario. So what does this cortisol do? Si cortisol, no, once there is stress, so cortisol will use all of the sugar stored in the brain and then transform it into the as energy into the body. So yun, sa limbs, sa legs mo, sa arms mo, lahat. And then mag-raise magid na it atong heartbeat, no. Ayun. So that's why when we are under stressful event, we don't feel hunger kasi all the rest na activity ng body na not necessary to address the stressful scenario, i-shut down. That's how it works. And then cortisol again helps us to combat stressful event. Now, fast forward, if typhoon is gone, and then somehow medyo na stable ang scenario, all these victims would feel fatigue, no? When you carry so much weight on your arm and then mag-numb ang ato ang forearm, no? That's when we feel na, hala, bugat di ay to? Di na ko ma-feel kaganina na bugat to. So why? Because it's kanina, the earlier event was fight or flight, no? The body was activated. That was the response. But when you rested, you feel na the tension, the bruise of the bruises, or pamaol. Ayan. So that's how it works. Okay. However, increased of cortisol, no, pag sobra naman tayo ka-exposed to stressful event, ayan, cortisol is not good. A small amount will help us fight or flight. But too much amount of cortisol is also not good. Why is it not good? It will interfere our immune system. That is why at pandemic, no, when we were under quarantine, we were told to take a lot of vitamin C, eat healthy, do exercise, because too much cortisol will interfere our immune system. So it's easy for us to acquire bacteria and viruses. So we'll have the flu, the fever, and etc. because weak ang immune system. And one more, which I think you would agree, cortisol, too much of it may also increase our weight. And it can negatively impact blood pressure, cholesterol, and heart disease. Okay? And of course, it can increase depression and anxiety. And ang pinaka na-observe na to, it decreases our ability to think rationally. So see, if you are exposed to so much stress, these are the things that might happen to you. Okay? So later, we will talk about how to combat that. Okay pa? Students? Patay. Ayan. I cannot move to my next slide. Ayan. Wait. Ayan. So, Ayan, sorry. Ayan. So that figure, no, will give us the summary, no. So there is stress, and that's the part of the brain. There is autonomic nervous system, sympathetic and sympathetic, the ones I mentioned earlier. And then ayan, si cortisol helps us fight, and adrenaline, no? So in anak ka powerful ato ang brain. Okay, this is the part of the brain where I mentioned earlier, and that is very important for us when we discuss adolescence or late adolescence, early and late adolescence. Kasi sa late adolescence, nasa almost 20 years old. So, 20, medyo pa-adjusting, and then 21 and above, ayan, adulthood na tayo. So, why is it very important for us to talk about? I insisted on talking about part of the brain, because it's very important for us to understand what are the things that these adolescents, these learners, these young adults are struggling inside. No, but I don't want you to make this an excuse for your maladaptive behavior. Students, take note, ha. This is for us to learn and understand ourselves better, but this is not for us to have an excuse why we do things na dili maayo. Okay. So there, on the right, that's the striatum. Okay. Part siya ng amygdala. Okay. Na nasa left. Okay. Why we become impulsive? Because the adolescent brain, that brain being projected there, no? Syempre, how will I start that? Hubon. Yeah, I always start with the hubon. Hubon is, yan, di ba? Dito, the frontal cortex, no? Ayan. And then, this is the executive functioning of the brain. Now, if you can see that, if mag-ulan, you protect that. Diba? Sa baby, you do not touch it, no? Kay open pa siya. Truly, because at the 25 years of a male adult, dun pa siya fully develop. So take note, fully developed at 25 years old. Meaning, 24 pa baba, dili pa kaayo gwapo yun ang ato ang functioning as to executive, ha? But we can learn and we can relearn and we can enhance, okay? Now, that part is the amygdala, and that part is the striatum. The striatum now is the seat of pleasure. So, I have mentioned earlier, nga naman magsigita o do things that gives us good emotions, pleasurable activities, smoking, alcohol, sex, shopping, no? Because that time of our life, we are in we are inclined. Ayan. That's good that your parents are with you when you watch this, no? So they also would know how to handle our domestic scenario at the same time. Okay, nasa bahay. Okay. Anyway, so during adolescence, late adolescence, no, we are inclined to do highly pleasurable behaviors. Okay, rewarding behaviors. And take note, medyo bagita immature. So that's why irritable emotional ang mga adolescents, na even tweeners, na pre-adolescent and late adolescence. Ayan. So that figure will tell us na in the limbic system, na it deals with emotions, reward, survival, pleasure, and fight and flight. So take note, part siya ng brain. Isa siyang subpart ng brain that deals with all those. So, very important to understand nowadays how these learners, how we students behave during pandemic. Why it seems we are emotional. Why it seems that we are irritable. Why it seems that we are inclined to pleasurable behavior. Now, adolescents or learners may have to track. No? They may have internalized the stress or externalized it as to manifestation of their behavior. So internalizing behaviors are those students or learners na nagakimkim lang, no? You tend to be sad, you have that intense fear, you don't talk to anyone. Yan yung mga tao na they keep staying inside their bedroom or inside the house and then expecting na okay lang sila, then eventually may news na, no? The sad news, it attempted or committed suicide. The externalizing behavior naman are those behaviors that are somehow overtly observed. Makita siya. So we become aggressive, mamundak, magtubag-tubag, magmura sa mga teachers, kana no, dili na polite sa mga teachers. So that's another externalizing behavior. So these are how students respond. These are how students respond to stressful environment. And when I say stressful environment, not only about the school and academic requirement, but at the same time within themselves and within the family. No? So, how do we cope? No? There are three kinds of coping mechanisms. There is problem-focused coping, emotion-focused coping, and avoidance coping. Now, ma'am, when do we learn how to cope? When will I start to learn to cope? Ayan. So, bata pa man na, I allow lang usually is the statement of the parents. But take note, ha? Coping mechanism can be learned at the earliest time possible. When you play games with your friends. The concept of winning and losing. How do you deal with that? How do you cope losing a game? How do you cope winning the game? No? So, how do you cope failure during elementary, no? Competitions. Ayan. Okay, sorry for the kuris-kuris. O yan. I think mawala na siya. Ayan, okay. Another stressful event. How do we cope? Avoid. In a way. Again, so problem-focused coping is those behaviors, no, coping mechanism that we deal with the actual problem. Say, for example, modular or online. No, that's the problem. Magpasa sa deadline or ahead sa deadline. Tas masuko din ta pag nakadaghan na kayo ang classwork activity posted sa Google Classroom. So, how do you deal with that? Do you cater most of the time na being mad, agitated, and stressed? Or one at a time, you answer those classwork? And at least, kada adlaw, one classwork is eliminated. When you do that, you do problem-focused. Okay. I have also a student, no, late siya sa classroom because he went somewhere, I think in Cagayan de Oro, to have a part-time job and bought herself a phone. And she messaged me, ma'am, I have to be late because I need to work so I can buy a phone. So that is an example of problem-focused coping. Instead of ranting on social media, ranting and anywhere else in a social, in any platform, no, pwedeng sa friends, pwedeng sa imong barkada, no, whoever, she made a way, no, she chose to address the behavior, the problem rather, and that's work for a while to buy herself her own phone and then enroll herself to all of the subjects for the semester, and voila, na she is now an active student. Now, emotion-focused coping is when you are more subjective, no? You are more into dealing with your emotions, no? You consider the difficulties, challenging the feeling states of the individual. So, yan yung emotion-focused. Now, the avoidance coping naman is the refusal to accept and deal with the stressor. So, there are people na, later na, okay ra na. O pwede ra lagi na, mawala ra na. Okay, that's an example of avoidance. So, ma'am, which is the best? Is there the best among the three? I believe we can have all of them at a time. No? Not all naman stressful environment applicable sa emotion-focused coping. No? Say, for example, again, the typhoon. No, you cannot just cry there and think of how existential you are with your life, no? But you have to work. I mean, you have to do something. You have to climb up the rooftop, no? So, ayan. There are also problems na we have to be subjective and we have to deal with our emotions, no? Before we deal with the problem. And avoidance can be done when, I believe in when you cannot change the person, you cannot change the behavior of that person, you cannot change the situation, then you change your behavior as to pwede tang mag-avoid. Pwede na to nang i-reject na idea and then move on and do your thing. Okay? So, usahay, sobraan lang po ng avoidance. Too much of avoidance coping is not also good, ha? Because isuppress man nato siya, mugawas gihapon na ato ang emotional response to those behaviors. Okay. Now, take note, learners, that the impact of stressful events does not rest solely on the stressors, okay? It's not only about the scenario or the situation that you are into, but how you, adolescents and learners, have subjective appraisal. Okay. What do you mean by subjective appraisal? How do you evaluate the situation? No, what you are to do? Ayan. Okay. That leads me to controllability. No? We have two locus of control. We have two locus of control. We have external locus of control and we have internal locus of control. Sorry. Okay, when we say internal locus of control, now you admit, okay? You accept, you acknowledge that you are in control of that, no? How motivated you are, how decisive you are on that decision, how you motivated you are to do the solution of the problem. Okay, so when we say external locus of control, you attribute those stressors to the environmental factors, to the societal factors, to other factors, no, not including yourself. Now, this is what I mentioned about self-efficacy a while ago. So we have already controllability. Kanino ba natin siya i-apportion, no? Is it sa'yo, within you, or the outside, the environment? Now, self-efficacy naman is when we know that we are capable of doing things. We know that we decide for our life, as a student, how well you do your job, your task, your performance task, your assessment, how motivated you are to finish one task at a time. So self-efficacy kasi can be learned through previous experiences, meaning you have done a lot of things that you were awarded or commended or even acknowledged, no? You feel good about that. Vicarious learning. Kaya gani nila, kaya nagpod na ako. Naningkamot man gani siya, maningkamot pod ko. Okay. Also, verbal persuasion. When your teachers, when your parents tend to tell you, na you're doing good, na nag-improve na ka, you have a better output this time. So it feels good. And of course, the psychological environment. So the scenario, the situation, the school, the house. Okay. And so that's how our self-efficacy is being, what do you call that? Being acquired. Okay. Okay. So another one is social support. Okay. So these are your social network or social relationship or people that you can go to when you need advice, when you need help, or when you need um, basically support, emotional support. Yan. When you just want to say something, when you just want to to vent out your emotions. Okay. Ayan. So here, since I have already mentioned the mechanisms of the brain and how we are to cope, I also inserted here the the research that those learners or people or whoever, no, even adults man, are inclined to social media, it it affects significantly the mechanisms of the brain as to our impulsiveness. Okay, so kasi during pandemic, we are into social media because that's the common activity that we can do, that's the easiest thing that we can connect to people. However, too much of that, may also interfere the mechanism of our brain, kasi such as smoking, alcohol, gambling, social media is also addictive. So I was also asked by a student na, ma'am, because there are a lot of posts in social media as to suicide, we also call it mass hysteria, since it's very observed, and then nakikita siya, no? The youngest so far I have seen posted in Facebook is grade 5 student, no? Girl, no, pupil na nag-commit nga. And could it be influenced by social media? So that's an interesting question, kasi could it be influenced by social media, na everything is posted, no, whatever we do, but when we say suicide, even slashing, no, so these kasi are manifestation that we have lower, no, ability to focus on the problem as to coping mechanism, kasi mas nakakain tayo ng emotions. Okay, so now, ayan, how to combat stress. I think this is the meat of this webinar, no? How are we to combat stress? Ayan. If you have watched the vlog of my cousin there, and I think she is here, no, with us, Becca Maitha Babia. I mentioned 4 C's, no, as to that's a heart problem, no, as to love. C for chances, choices, consequences, and changes. Now here, I have read an article and it mentioned of A's naman. Okay? So, we need to alter. We need to, let me see my notes. Avoid. We need to adapt. And we need to accept. Okay, so the first statement is, we need to alter our lives in order to avoid stress. How are we going to do that, students, no? How are we to alter our life, no? Kasi daw, it's all on you. Sabi kanina, we have 2 locus of control, internal and external, but it's all on you. How are you to do that? Sabi, do you really have to do all those things expected by other people na di mo naman nakaya? Yan. Or do you really have to answer your boyfriend's classwork when you have a lot of classwork piled up? And we have though to cut off some things not necessary to avoid stress. We also have to delegate, no? As to when there is group work, no? Sana pag mag face to face na, no, we have to share the task. We have to delegate. In the school, for the instructors watching, no, we have to delegate the task. We don't have to own everything, just to make uh your goal attained, attain your goal. You have to delegate your task and organize at the same time, when do you do your activities for this subject to this subject to this subject? What is the most difficult subject for you? How are you to answer that classwork na medyo nahihirapan ka, like that? So you have to organize. So of cliche, and you have been hearing this, time management, but how do you do that? No. Do you alter? Have you already altered your routine? Have you already apply the time management seminar given? I hope so. You were given. No, those are the things. Did you alter already so that you can avoid stress? Okay, and you can also identify stressors na you need not respond. So when there is a stressor na petty naman, pwedeng hindi ka na mag-involve, especially when you are not the focal person or you are not the core person in that scenario. So stay away a bit, okay, to save yourself, okay. And then we can also alter our thoughts to adapt. Remember, the symptoms of stress are into 4. So we also have to alter our thoughts, that's the cognitive area, to adapt to our environment, So alter your thoughts. Say for example, ano ba ang common? Yan. We tend to be to overthink, We tend to be paranoid. We tend to how do you say that? We tend to overreact. We tend to interpret others, without clarification or verification on our own thoughts lang. Ayan, gising ka sa imong katsyat, ayan na. Tapos naminaw dayon ka kang Moira upa-ubaya. So naghilak na ka. And you can change that thoughts, Na okay, gising ka, be it, gising ka, move on, You have to change your thoughts to adapt to the environment. So again, alter, avoid, and adapt. And the last one is take note that we cannot do anything about the things that we cannot change. And please take note, the only behavior that you can control is yours and yours alone. You cannot control your teacher's behavior. You cannot control your parents' behavior, but you can control your behavior. And so don't fight what we can't change. However, accept, accept the things that we can change. Okay? So I would like to emphasize that this is the cognitive triad. This is always the key, when we deal with stress. We have to deal with our behavior, because our behavior affects our feelings affects our thoughts affects our behavior, and so on and so forth. So it affects each other, that we have to be careful of how we respond to stressful environment. Okay, now, since we understand that we have behavior, feelings, and thoughts as to how we are to combat stress, and we have already 3 A's, the alter, avoid, adapt, and accept, I want you to be seated comfortably, okay? Because I will somehow equip you with breathing exercise, because as we have mentioned, there are symptoms already, and then anxiety when everything is going up, when taas ang heart rate, taas ang pulse, tanan, and then agitated, that's anxious. And then sa depression naman, paubos. When you feel not doing anything, you don't want to eat, you don't want to do anything, di ka mo gawas, depressive symptoms. But take note, pag nasad ka, Okay. Wala ka niya gising, dili na siya depression right away, people. Okay? Sad ka lang. Okay? It's not feeling sad diretso. I feeling depressed diretso. Okay? Depression kasi has a lot of criteria, and I would like you to change that notion na when you cry, you're already depressed. That's a normal behavior, especially pag isin ka lang and then you're expecting something more. Okay? So, ayan. So, how do we combat anxiety, stress, and not so good thoughts? Is number one, aside from those is the breathing, not the diaphragm breathing. Why? Because it increases the oxygen that helps us to go back to our rational thinking. It slows down our heart rate. So meaning, di na to kulbaan. Kay muhinay naman itong heart rate. So dili na ta kabado. Okay? And it stimulates vagus nerve. Okay, kaganina, I mentioned of the cortisol. No? The cortisol that shoots up during fight and flight and help us survive. Now, when too much of it is not good, when we breathe, that nerve there will turn off the production of cortisol. Again, when we breathe, that nerve stimulated there will turn off the overproduction of cortisol. So it's very important that we have to learn deep breathing. Okay, so basically, wait lang. Center na ba siya? Ayan. So you can put your hand sa chest. Okay, can I see someone do that? Put your hand on the chest and the other hand sa my stomach. Okay, sige. Inhale just like the normal na naga-inhale, exhale ka. Usually, naga-move ang atoang taas. Tama? Is it the chest that goes that moves? Can I hear a yes or a confirmation? Ayan.
Yes, ma'am.
Ayan, okay. Naga-move siya. Now,
Yes,
our
ma'am.
goal, kasi it's very hard to demonstrate na half lang ang ako ang ma-show. So here try to inhale that allows you to bloat your stomach and not move your chest. Sige daw. Try to inhale na mag-move, mudako, malobo ang chan. So inhale. Huwag nidikit ko. Imbis nagdemon ako, nidikit na ko. Okay. Ayan. So, have you tried na dili siya ang nag-pump, dili ang upper body ang nag-pump, but ni-move at ang chan, and then, what do you call that? Hold your breath, no? Hold, and then exhale through your mouth. Then, when you exhale, mugamay na ang chan. Can I receive a
Yes, ma'am.
confirmation? Ayan. Thank you, Miss Jen. Ayan. So, can we do that? Let's inhale. And then hold. And then exhale. With the mechanism na sa diaphragm tab mag-breathe. Okay. Can we do that now? So, inhale. Slowly. Hold. And exhale slowly. There. Okay, do you get that?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Miss Zen. Ayan. So, when you do that, no, kasi when we inhale kasi like that, no, with the shoulders moving, it's only the lungs that work, no. I mean, it's only the upper body that works. But when we breathe from the diaphragm again, it increases again our oxygen intake, changes our heart rate, that helps us calm down. Kasi when our heart rates fast, no, so magpaspas siya, ma-encounter na to ang feeling of uneasiness. And that's when we panic. That's when we tend to be anxious. And then when you know how to do that breathing exercise, then it will lessen our cortisol. So, okay, so now that you know how to inhale, hold, and exhale, I have what we call for boxing breathing rather. Box breathing is you inhale for 4 seconds, you hold your breath for 4 seconds, you exhale for 4 seconds, and do that for 4 times. Do you follow?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. So again, box breathing and other deep breathing exercises can help us combat stress. Okay. Another is relaxation routine. You can have muscle relaxation and you can research anyone sa YouTube. But we can discuss this short routine. So you may sit on the chair and then scrunch your face, no? Then relax. Okay? Can we do that? I cannot do that kasi nagatok ko. But for those who are on their house, no? And then, ayan, try to do that, to scrunch, no? Wiggle the face and relax. Ayan. Next one is tense your arms. So, arms forward, stretch, not tense. Meaning, mangusog ta, for feel the muscles na nag-move and then relax. Ayan. And then shoulders. Tense up your shoulders and chest. So imo siyang i-up like that. Ayan. Hold for a little bit and then relax. Okay? Next is you can tense up your legs. So pwede mo siyang i-up. Okay? And then stretch that up to the sole, up to your toes. Feel the muscles being stretched and then relax. Okay? And then you may end this routine with your breathing exercise. So you can do this, no, teachers, you can do this in the office, no, while you are doing your reports or planning your activities for the online class. You can do the relaxation routine at least na ma-elevate ang ato ang tension or stress na experience. Okay. Other research also would suggest that connecting with others during pandemic also help us feel good, no? Kasi at least you get to know someone's activity, you get to be inspired by someone's events and etc. Or even you can share emotional experiences. So ikaw ba mag-vent out or siya ba mag-vent out or just happy emotions being shared. And currently, no, researchers, no, there are experiments and researches have been made that pets can elevate, no, those not so good emotions and feelings. No, ako mismo, I think 3 months na po. No, before I don't have pet, I don't like pets, but now I have Joko, na the one barking, and he is now the source of comfort, no, for me and my son. So, it helps us to have something, no, to have that pet, no. It actually so far for my 3 months of being a fur parent, no, Joko elicits empathy, no, kanang feeling nimo kung naay baby, that's how you feel when you have a pet, no? Mindful ka, empathic ka because of your pet. And of course, no, it's never obsolete. Laughter is still the best medicine. So you can laugh with your friends, no? Or minsan we watch videos sa YouTube. So, yan, makakatawa ta and all. And music. But take note again, now because of Moira, no, people have been even when they are in a relationship, but they watched Moira and then re-experience the breakup they had years back, relived, no, those moments. So minsan we have to choose the proper music. So when you are angry, when you are in the traffic or when you are arguing with someone, do not listen to angry music, no? Then if you are just heartbroken, then do not listen to paubaya, no? Listen something else, any song that might help you, but not those emotions, no? Kasi sabi, when you are sad, you really can feel the emotions, no? When you're happy, you can understand the lyrics. Pero kahit na, because we have just to be wise on choosing what kind of music that we are into. Okay. And then, of course, we will never forget self-care. Okay. I have mentioned earlier adequate sleep. So basically 7 to 8 hours, no? Even others would have 4 or less, no? That's when we become irritable the day after. So it's very important to have adequate sleep so that we can, no, reboot our energy, our body. And then healthy eating. Okay, again, stress eating is not healthy. Overeating is not healthy. Okay, how you have to check with your doctors or with your dietitians or nutritionists as to your diet, no? Kasi minsan when we fast too much and then we binge it, it might alter our blood sugar and may cause more medical problems. If you have medications, if prescribed naman, you have to maintain. Then you have to follow your doctor's prescription. No? Avoid substances. I myself is having a problem with this. Kasi coffee is the most abused substance, I think, nowadays. Kasi ako, I am into drinking 2 to 3 cups of coffee a day. So it's not good anymore kasi we become um, dependent on caffeine. So instead na we have that normal activity when we are active, when we can rest, no? So when we have coffee before bedtime, then we cannot rest because we are still energized. Now exercise. Now exercise is the common and na suggestion, recommendation na sinasabi ng anyone, any expert, the doctor, your nurse, your teachers, whoever, exercise. What's with exercise pala? Others sa labi na Pinoy, no, kapuyan, or usahay pedera, usahay wala-wala, okay. Exercise, when you have that minimum of 30 or 20 minutes, na you have 5 minutes warm up and then 10 minutes proper exercise and then 5 minutes cool down. I think that's already 20 minutes, no? When you have that routine at least twice or thrice a week, it will boost your dopamine, no? And yeah, it will boost your dopamine and endorphin. These are again chemicals in the brain that elevates our negative emotions and feelings. So makahelp siya. But if you have that religious routine for the exercise, say for example, you exercise every day and that medyo nagi cardio involved, na medyo heavy na gid siya, no? And then that the routine, according to experts, will change the chemical makeup in your brain that now help you deal with stress. So ma-enhance ato ang chemical makeup sa brain. And then if you have even more heavy routine, say for example 1 hour, tapos covered na tanan, the arms, the body, the legs, no, the body, whole body workout na, and it's religious now because it can change that mechanisms in the brain. It can help us deal with stress. Remember the parasympathetic and the sympathetic a while ago. When you kasi do the heavy exercise, when you're done with your routine, the heavy routine, it it ignites that feeling na from sympathetic to parasympathetic. So when the body is at the parasympathetic, no, at the rest and digest na mode, then you feel relaxed and you feel good. That's why exercise and healthy diet is the common suggestion and recommendation when it comes to dealing with stress. Okay. Now, what else can you do? No, stop doing the things that would be overwhelming. No, again, as I have mentioned earlier, you can cut off activities that are stressful or delegate tasks that are stressful. No, stop doing things that make you feel more stress at the same time. No, when we do things because we think na we can deal with that or help um sorry help with our solution, but it will make you more stressed, then do not do that. Stop doing things that is not your goal. Stop doing things that is not your to-do list for the day. Ayaw sala, ayaw buhata ang dili nimo nga trabaho, especially for the workers that applies. And now, I think I'm about to end the slide before the question and answer. What is the one thing, what is your one key takeaway? One key takeaway from all the things that I have mentioned. I would like to ask all the students and even the faculty and staff watching and other visitors, what is your one key takeaway of this discussion? Kasi it's very important that at least we have something, we have one thing na we can do starting today that can alter our lives to have all this, address the stress, address the anxiety, address the suicidal ideation, and address the anxiousness and depression. So you start with one thing at a day, no? One thing lang. And then tomorrow you add another thing, and then tomorrow you add another thing. So say for example, you can just practice breathing, no? And then you can also have your mantra. So like, good morning, it's a happy day. And that reminds you, oh, it's a happy day. So you can smile. That's one. No? One thing, and then collectively, it will now alter your thoughts, behaviors, and feelings. Okay, I think it's time for us for the question and answer.
Thank you, Ma'am Chin.
Yes po,
Okay,
sir.
to all the participants, if you have some questions or queries with regards to the presentation or to the topic, feel free to chat it on the chat box so that our resource speaker would able to answer all your questions and queries. May mga questions po ba or clarifications from our student participants?
We can also have questions from the faculty, sir, if there is.
Yes po. How about from the faculty po? May mga questions po ba tayo? I question, ma'am, from
Yes po.
Jessamay Balili, one of the student participants. Ma'am, good morning. Nganong mangatol ang ulo pag ma-pressure?
Okay. That's nice question. Ganong mga tol ang ulo pag sorry, there's power interaction. The other account, wala. Dili ko kasulod, but I think this one is working. Ganong mga tol pag ma-pressure. So it's the same as nganong mutan-aw ta sa ato pag mag-take exam. Tama? No? When we do that kasi, our executive functioning kasi is here, the brain. So it somehow gives signals sa brain na we have to think, we have to do something. So the behavior na ang imuhang learned behavior as to wait lang. Sorry. We have to think rationally or even decide for the moment. Kaya siya mangatol ta. As to ma'am unsay buhaton, no? Pangato lang and then breathe and then think of what to do next. Ana. Kasi same sa pag mag-exam, ano tang gatan-aw sa atop or sa taas or sa wall, no? Na medyo layo because this is the seat of our information. Hippocampus is the storage of the lessons you have learned. It is where your new information are stored. So when our eyes look that way, it triggers our hippocampus to think and our thalamus to dig, no, to recall our lessons nga ato ang gistudihan. Ganyan. It's just the same mechanism.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Another question po, Ma'am Chin.
Yes po.
How can we deal with depression, ma'am, if wala ko maistoryahan lain po?
Okay.
Julius,
Wala kay may istoryahan lain because
mut lang. Basin. Yun na to na konya. Magsaysay man to.
Okay, sige. Okay, wait. Okay na ko? Ayan. So, is the reason of wala kay may istoryahan, you prefer not to talk about it or walay available person that you can talk to? It matters. Kasi baka you just don't want to talk about it and then you choose people. Kasi it's also important for us to choose trustworthy people to vent out or share our emotional problems, no? Or depressive symptoms. But we really cannot do it on our own. Breathing exercise, changing our thoughts, and all this that we have discussed, dili siya enough. You really have to go to someone. And then I believe when you are a student naman, you can go to your guidance office, no? You can go and see your guidance counselor because that's her task and that's the task of the office to help you. If not, because there is that we call dual relationship, baka teacher mo na siya, silingan, or kaila ka, and it's very hard, take note that we have no, na we are required to deal all those information with confidentiality and privacy. So there's no need for you to worry about aha siya kinsa pay makabalo or aha niya iingon because we are required to keep it confidential and private. So if dili gyud pa ka comfortable, there are available hotlines, there are available numbers for those people, no? You seek for professional help. Kasi depression cannot be dealt on your own, langga. You really have someone to help you fight with that. You can have your support system or you can have that professional help. You cannot do it on your own.
Okay, thank you so much, Ma'am Chin. Any other questions pa po? Ma'am Chin, another question po.
Yes po.
Unsa po daw ang kalahian sa anxiety and depression?
Okay.
Ang pirmi nga kahadlok ma'am asa na ang pirmi nga kahadlok ma'am asa na bilong.
Okay. So, thank you for that question. Ang pirmi nga kahadlok as to unsay mahitabuon niya, unsay mahitabo ugma kanus amo man ang COVID as to our financial problem tanan, no? It goes to anxiety because that's our thoughts for the future, fears for the future. That's anxiety. So when we say anxiety, again, taas ang ato ang ma-observe mo taas atong ato ang blood pressure, no, makulbaan tag kadit, so pataas ang iyang simptomas. So again, permi nga kahadlok is anxiety. As to depression naman, paubos. Meaning, dili ka ganahan mo kaon, dili ka ganahan mo gawas, dili ka mo inom og tubig, wala kay ganang maligo. As basic as that, muna siya ang depression. Di ka makipagstoryag tao because muna siya ang imuhang coping, muna siya ang imuhang response rather sa imuhang stressful na environment or situation. Ingon ana.
Okay, thank you so much Ma'am Chin. Any other questions? From our faculty, meron po ba?
Yeah.
Alright, Ma'am Chin,
Yes po.
napoy isa ka ko ano po diri ma'am. Ma'am, permi ko ginakasab-an sa akong parents kay naay time na muhilak palit. Unsa ako buhaton, ma'am?
Okay. Yeah, I think I forgot that portion when I talk about adolescence. The very first thing that you have to do is communicate your needs. Yes, your parents are there, no? They are to provide you. They are your parents. The mother and the father have roles, but they cannot predict how you think and how you feel. Though mother as I am, I know when my son is hurt or not feeling well, but as to what do you want? What is it that you really want? You really have to communicate that with your parents. Kasi parents naman feel good pag you ask something from them, not money all the time, but you ask affection, you ask attention. So when ginakasab-an ka nila, and then the factor is isog imong parents and dili ka pwede mo tubag, no? Find a way na makasingit ka nga pa katubit ang ani kay inani ba akong na feel ka ng kuan ba, then you can share or assert in a polite way. Ayaw pag-assert nga padabog, ayaw pag-assert nga isog kasi again, ma-trigger si papa or si mama. Ma'am, gikasaban man ko, unsaon man ako, no? So again, feel na hurt ka, but again, evaluate po. Aha man nagikan ang kasaba. Is it repetitive na problem or dili sila maminaw sa imo or ikaw ang dili maminaw sa ilaha? There are a lot of factors. But the only thing that you can deal with that is through communication. Now, if dili nimo kaya, you can ask someone. You can have your ninang, your ninong, or your teacher to have a mediator, to have someone na mag-medal sa inyo to communicate your needs. Kasi parents also need to be informed of how you feel and the stressful events. So, karon lang man good kasi, parents are more preoccupied of the economic status of the family, no? Napatay mga domestic problems and roles nga ginatiman. But they also have problems with their own mental health. So it's very important na ma-communicate nila ug nimo ang unsa inyong need. Because in the relationship sa family members, we have to, kumbaga, how do you say that? We have to We have to make sure what is our role in the family. So kung si Papa kani iyang role, then i-acknowledge na to. Kung si Mama iyang role kani, acknowledge na to. Then ikaw, unsa pwede imong role. And then once you acknowledge those roles, dili na din na mag-overlap. Dili na din na mag-overlap nga ikaw day ani, ikaw day ato. Kasi kabalo naman sa inyong roles. So kung na-communicate ang roles in the family, unsay role ni kuya, unsay role ni ate, ni mama, ni papa, ikaw, o ni bunso, then ma-lesson siya. So again, communicate, identify and acknowledge your roles, and then establish. Kasi when your papa and mama is Generation X or baby boomer pa, ahead pa, no, medyo naan nag-iedad, lisod yun na nila masaktan. Kasi ilang hugot kami sa una, no? Ingon ana. So, you need help on that.
Thank you, Ma'am Jean. Another question po, Ma'am.
Yes po.
Kanang mag-hallucinate ang tao, Ma'am, depressed na ba na?
Kapag mag-hallucinate ang tao, depressed na ba na siya? Hallucination kasi is, ano na siya, no? Di hawa na ka sa reality. Pero kinahanglan nato makita ang factor sa nag-hallucinate siya. Kasi minsan, pag sobraan ta ka-stress, na atay madunggan nga atong owner dayto nga realization. Okay, when we experience positive symptoms, no, of schizophrenia such as hallucination and delusion, no, we really need help. Kasi that's not purely depression. You have to deal, no, both the psychotic symptoms, dili pa siya schizophrenic ha, symptoms pa lang siya, and the underlying behavior. Unsa jud reason nga na siya nag-hallucinate, and that could be depression, no? And that could be depression kay pwede nga mood congruent yung depression. So kung unsa iyang na-feel, mo yung gaka-hallucinate. Ayan. So mura ma-experience niya. Kay mura naman kag nag-imagine, ana. And then imuha nang ginalive imong gi-imagine. Diba? Mura ingon ana man ang hallucination. So it could be, and that needs professional help.
Thank you, Ma'am Jean. Another concern po, Ma'am, from one
Yes,
of our student participants po. Ma'am, na ako agaw nga sige ingon magpakamatay na daw siya kay gikapoy na siya. Dili siya mosugot nga motugan ko sa iyang papa kay wala naman iya mama kay namatay sa bagyong Pablo. Nahadlok ko para sa iya, ma'am. Unsa akong pwede mabuhat, ma'am?
So kung wala na siya mama o papa, you have yours. Tas igagaw
Hello, Ma'am
pwede
Jean.
mag-intervene ang imuhang mama para ma-help nato imong igagaw, pwede. Kung dili pwede ang imong iyang siblings. Kung dili gid pwede, then kauban mo karon og eskwelahan, you can ask your guidance counselor and set an appointment. Ingon ana. Kasi sometimes those suicidal thoughts comes good, no? Kasi feeling hopeless and helpless na ta sa situation. So wala pa siya parents, so wala na siya.
Ma'am Jean? Hello po, Ma'am Jean. Okay, parang standby po muna tayo, participants, since may technical problem po yung resource speaker natin. Hello, Ma'am Chin. Hi, Ma'am
Hello,
Chin.
ayan.
Ayan.
Okay, diba? Ako ang na-stress. Nag-first fire. Brown out siya and it took me a while to go back. Okay, asan ako? Na si Pinsan, tama? And
Yes, yes
then
po.
would like to end his or her life and then wala family, parents. So, if that Pinsan has, siblings, if wala, yan, pwede ang closest relative. Kasi once ang imong kastorya is in danger, pwede natong i-break atong confidentiality. So kung iyahang pasakatan iya self or lain, we have to call authority or other people na mas higher sa atua o authority over that person. Ayan. So, I hope ma-help siya, no? Ma-help siya sa closest relative para ma-address na. Kasi again, when we think na gid of suicide, no, gradual kasi yan. So, you have your thoughts, you have those ideation, bago ang commit, na bago nimo na-apply attempt, bago good nimo buhaton. And research says na it's the men, no, na who are successful. So, minsan kasi we feel hopeless, we feel helpless. That's when we think of kanina lang na solution para mahuman na ang tanan. So emotion focus, no, and other problems in factors na naga-revolve ana nga problem. So again, please seek for help, no, professional or pwede inyong closest relative available.
Thank you, Ma'am Chin. Another concern po, Ma'am, good morning po. How to fight or manage po yung nagising ka po tapos hindi na makatulog ulit kasi ang dami pong pumapasok sa isipan ko po.
Okay, so usually when we have disruption in sleep, that's 3 a.m., 2 a.m., in the middle, 12 in the wee hours. Sleep kasi has a cycle we call circadian rhythm. No, nana siya 4 steps, and each step na 30 minutes, 15 minutes, 45 minutes, and another 15, and balik-balik. No, um, it happens na we can have that interruption kasi makamatata or kanang feeling na nakamatata. And then pag nakamatata, yan, paspas atong heartbeat, alert ta. So minsan there is panic. But if there is no panic experience, no, walay panic symptoms, you have those intrusive thoughts. So what to do is relax, no? Higa ka. You can do the deep breathing. You can listen to music. Again, dili pa ubaya. Kailangan ka makatulog. So, dili ka maghila sa kanta ni Moira. Instead, any music that you want to, no? Pinaka-common is kanang mga classical instrumental music, no? Kay maka-relax daw sila according to research. Or usahay, I would suggest, think, no? Imagery that my imagery guide ka. You think of a place where you are safe, you are happy, it boosts good feelings, and then eventually ma-alter na imong thoughts, especially pag naga-deep breathe pa ka. I hope that could help. No, it's nice sana to demonstrate, but sige lang. I hope it could help you.
Thank you, Ma'am Jean. Another po. One of the reasons I have why I become so stressful is that I procrastinate a lot. How do you view procrastination, and what is your advice to people who set aside tasks so frequently to a point that they miss relevant tasks po? Thanks po.
Okay. Sige. So you already identified that na ay mga times na we set aside important things. No, do not set aside important things. So as I mean, procrastinate kasi muna siya, link na siya into that amount of hour, diha pa ta mo trabaho, diha pa ta mo liho, kaya diha ta productive. That is a learned behavior. It could be a learned behavior from elementary, high school, college, das karon ingon ana ka sa imong work, or in ana ka since bata pa ka, kay mo ingon man si mama mag-uno, dos, tres. Sa uno o sa dos, chill pa ka, sa dos, liho ka. You see, it's a collective na daghan siya reason nga nagaka-procrastinate ka. But number one, you can control your behavior, which means you can organize your things to do. No, you can alter your schedule. You can change your schedule. Isa kasi na siya sa ginatanaw nato karon as to the online learning, because you all have the time of the then sa morning whatever, and then pagkagabi na dahil magkapuliki. So you really have to discipline yourself. And you have to establish a routine wherein you are productive in all aspects of your life. You can have your friends, you can have your boyfriend, you can have your schoolwork. And you can have your me time, your time for yourself. Kasi it's very important as well that we visit ourselves from time. Atong i-feel, ato ang mag-me time ta from time to time para ma-boost good na to atong self-care. Ayan. So again, discipline yourself and establish a routine wherein you are productive in all aspects of your life.
Thank you, Ma'am Jean. Ma'am, last question po. Good morning, ma'am. Ako ma-experience, ma'am, kay dili ko ganahan mo kaon pag stress or dili ko ka-feel o gutom. Unsaon ako pag cope up ni ma'am?
Okay. So again, that is a physical symptom of stress, no? Pwede ra gid na nga small frequent eating, no? Di man ko sa medical nga field, pero manggod by Selye pa lang, Hans Selye, who discovered stress and gave definition of stress, he stressed out, he emphasized that kaning ato ang hyperacidity, kaning ato ang butterfly sa stomach is the most common when you experience So, kanang dili ka makakaon your no, that's why na medyo mapadapli nimo. But please, no, remind yourself. Pwede kang mag-alarm sa phone, pwede kang mag-sticky notes, pwede kang magbuhat og anything just to remind you to have at least no small na meal. Dili kinahanglan heavy if di ka ganahan, but at least masudlan siya. Kasi pag di na ka mukaon and then hyperacidity is the common nga response sa stress, so, mas mag-worst ang ato ang scenario. Magsakit na ta. Okay? Mubito nang kung mabantayan nato students, no, and especially faculty, labi na bombarded ta with a lot of job aside from teaching, no. When we are focused, when we are so productive, mag-overtime and etc., eventually mag-fatigue kita, no? Maluya kita. So that's basic response of the body.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Chin. I guess wala na pong mga questions yung mga participants natin. And Ma'am Chin, in behalf of the CVSC New Bataan Guidance and Testing Office and CVSC community, we would like to extend our heartfelt thanks to you, ma'am, for sharing your thoughts and knowledge of how our overall mental health is as important as our physical health. Okay, so allow me to present this certificate po of appreciation. Okay, allow me to read to you the citation of this certificate. Republic of the Philippines, Compostela Valley State College, Guidance and Testing Office, New Bataan, Davao de Oro. Awards this certificate of appreciation to Miss Chenie B. Labnotin for her for imparting her valuable insights and knowledge in the webinar entitled Pandemic Combat Dealing with Anxiety, Depression, and Suicidal Tendency to Learners, held on October 13, 2020 via Zoom teleconference, given this 13th day of November 2020 via Zoom teleconference. Signed, Ms. Stephanie Marie G. De Los Reyes, Campus Psychometrician and Guidance Coordinator. Signed, Dr. Joel E. Felicilda, Branch Director. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you also for having me. It's my pleasure to be with you, working with you and Steph.
All right. So before we end this webinar, again, I would like to remind every participants po to please comply and accomplish po the evaluation forms and post test po that had been posted to the CVSC New Bataan Guidance and Testing Office po na Facebook page. Because doon po magre-rely po yung Guidance and Testing Office po on giving your certificate po. All right? All right, to give at this juncture, to give us the closing remarks, may I call in our campus psychometrician and guidance coordinator, Miss Stephanie Marie G. De Los Reyes. Let us give her a warm of resounding virtual applause.
To our branch director, Dr. Joel Felicilda, to our program heads and coordinators, faculty and staff, students, and especially to our speaker, Ma'am Chenie. Good morning. I'd start this by thanking everyone for attending today's webinar entitled Pandemic Combat Dealing with Anxiety, Depression, and Suicidal Tendency to Learners. So, the world right now is in the middle of health crisis, not just physically, but having this pandemic affects our mental health condition, each one of us. So maybe one of the reason why we get stressed because or this always comes down to the consistent thoughts we think and the consistent beliefs that we hold. Again, this comes down to the consistent thoughts we think and the consistent beliefs that we hold. So depression do not come just because wala ka nakasubmit on time sa imong file, sa imong instructor, nakasabaan ka, wala ka gitagaan og laing chance to submit, then you go to your room crying the whole day. No, don't self-diagnose that you are in depression. It comes with diagnostic criteria. You are just sad or maybe you feel alone. So do something about it. If you are in trouble right now, students, do something about it. If you're heartbroken, then sabi ni Ma'am Chen, don't listen to Moira's song Paubaya. You're just hurting yourself more. If gisin ka ni ma'am or sir, wait for the reply, baka busy lang. If no reply, follow up. If naglagot ka sa imong classmates kay wa ka pasunduga sa iyang answer sa module, then it's time to strive for yourself. Success lies in you. During board exam, students, or civil service exam, you don't have anyone para makopyahan. You have to change your thoughts. As what Ma'am Chen said, you cannot change your parents' behavior. You cannot change anyone's behavior, but you can change your behavior. Start it for yourself, from yourself. Okay? So seek help. Talk to someone. Ayaw kahadlok. Guidance and Testing Office Facebook page is very welcome to answer you and guide you with this. I know, students, you can get through this. Of course, you have to commit to work on yourself. So, students, thank you for your participation, as well as to the faculty and staff who are virtually here, and most especially to our speaker, Ma'am Chen. Thank you, Ma'am, for sharing your expertise and knowledge. I do hope you're having a great time with us. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day. Sir Jerick.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Steph. So before we are going to leave this virtual conference, I would like to request everybody to please turn on your cameras for our picture taking po. Okay. Okay. On my cue, first page po muna tayo. And one, two, three, smile. All right. Second page. On my cue, one, two, three, and smile.
Smile! Nami sa barangay.
Ano na page, sir?
Ikaw pa
All
naman mo
right.
hindi, oy.
All right. So that's end our webinar this morning. Thank you all for
Thank you,
being here
sir.
today and taking the time to patiently listen to what our resource speaker had to share. So it's been a pleasure being with all of you. Again, this is JERICK Superioridad saying thank you very much. Have a blessed day. Laban CVSians and say hooray to CVSC. Mabuhay po tayong lahat.
God bless, sir. Thank you, sir.
God bless everyone.